Hello, BookTube! Welcome back to Lady Loves Dead Reads. My name is Jessica, and the topic of today's video is a wrap-up of my 2020 year of reading in review, along with my January 21 TBR list. I'm not drinking alcohol. This is actually root beer. First thing I'd like to do in this video is to go over my 2020 reading stats with you, along with my favorite books of the year. And then I'll also share my January 2021 reading plans. I'm going to be pretty short and sweet about the books that I list here. I'm not going to go into the descriptions or anything like that. I'll simply share with you what books they are, and then if you want to know more about them or have a conversation about them, drop a comment or a question in the comments below. Before we dive in though, make sure to hit that subscribe button. This community is free to join and participate in if you hit the red subscribe. If I did any single book reviews of any of these books that I list here, I will put a link to those videos up in the notes up here. Let's start with my 2020 reading statistics. These statistics are compiled over a combination of using Goodreads, the Goodreads platform, as well as an Excel spreadsheet that I utilize to track my reading, and then just some good old-fashioned mathematics at the end of the year. Alright, so in 2020, I did read a total of 62 books. Actually, it was 64 books, but I landed on 62 when I did the statistics. It ended up being a total of 20,280 pages. It was a good combination of nonfiction and fiction, with about it being half and half, almost equally, 50% fiction, 50% nonfiction. For nonfiction, if we break it down by category, I read 3 religious or theology books, 2 books about business and productivity, 2 cookbooks, 1 psychology book, 1 gender studies book, 2 memoir, 1 book about fish keeping, 2 critical social analysis, 3 books about homemaking or minimalism, and 2 books about gardening. My favorite nonfiction books of the year were, in no particular order and without descriptions, My Gender Workbook by Kate Bornstein, Gardening in Iowa, Month by Month by Melinda Meyer, Atomic Habits by James Clear, Educated by Tara Westover, Seed to Seed by Suzanne Ashforth, and The Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis. For fiction, I read 7 contemporary literary fiction, 7 classics or modern classics, 5 thriller or horror, 12 sci-fi fantasy, 4 romance, 5 mystery, and 3 poetry or verse. My favorite works of fiction this year, again in no particular order: Tiny Pretty Things by Sona Charapotra and Danielle Clayton, The Trials of Morrigan Crow by Jessica Townsend, When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole, Stoner by John Williams, Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo, Mexican Gothic, Sylvia Moreno Garcia, Dark Places by Gillian Flynn, Night Film by Marisha Pessel, Sin, a Work of Poetry by Farrokhzad, Tell the Wolves I'm Home by Carol Rifka Brunt, Bonfire by Kristen Ritter, and Wuthering Heights by Emily Brun. That sums up my 2020 reading year, including what I read in December. I didn't do a December wrap-up, but I figure this will suffice. I do have some individual book reviews coming up of some of the books that I read in December, so we'll be fine. In terms of books that I want to read in January 2021, I may have overshot a little bit on the goals for 2021 here this January. My list is a lot larger than it usually is, and we will just have to see how this plays out. All right, so first I have on my list The Trials of Morgan Crow again, which is the first book in the Nevermore series. This is by Jessica Townsend. I do want to read this because it's part of a read-along called Wonder Along, and this is being hosted by Olivia's Catastrophe and Sabine at Sabine's Book Nook. They're reading one book a month this year, so in January they'll be reading The Trials of Morgan Crow, February they'll be reading Wondersmith, in March you'll read Hollowpox. And I love this series so much, at least what I've read of it so far. The first book has just been on my mind, and I keep going back to it and wanting to live in that world again. And so I did actually just go ahead and purchase all 3 books because I loved the first book so much, and I'm excited to be participating in a read-along with Olivia and Sabine. The second book that I plan to read in January 2021 is Boundaries by Henry Cloud and John Townsend. This is part of a book club that I actually host over on my other channel, which is just called Lady Lovestead. And that book club is called the Read to Grow Book Club. It's hosted on Goodreads, but maybe I'll put together a Discord for it as well. But the goal of this book club is to read books that will help us grow as human beings. And the book Boundaries is about setting appropriate boundaries with others and within yourself. And it is more of a Christian-based book, so you're welcome to read along with us if you would like, but if the Christian-based books are not your thing, you don't have to either. The third book that I want to read in January 2021 is The Midnight Library with Matt Haig. I am doing a buddy read with our dearly beloved Simon over at BookTube with Simon, also sometimes known as BookTube with Laird Rumpel. Is that right? Oh, he's gonna be mad at me. Moving on. The next 3 books are part of series that I've been working on reading, where I read 3, I try to read 3 series at a time and read 1 installment of each series once a month, basically. So the 3 series that I've been working on, that I've been working on because I've talked about them a lot in 2020, is the Rosolian Isles series by Tess Gerritsen, rereading the Twilight series by Stephanie Meyer, and then the Mercy Thompson series by Patricia Briggs. So I will be reading the next installments in each of those series. For the Rosolian Isles, it's Mephisto Club by Tess Gerritsen. For the Mercy Thompson series, I'm on Rivermarked by Patricia Briggs. And for the Twilight series, I am on some of the final works, which is Life and Death, Twilight Reimagined, which is one of the companion novels that came out after the final 4 were written, and this is by Stephanie Meyer. I am really looking forward to getting done with the Twilight books, and it's not because I don't like them, it's just because I'm tired of it. In part because it is a reread, and in part because I've seen the movies, and it's just like, I know the stories, I know how it turns out, and I'm just not in the mood anymore to be living in that world. So really looking forward to getting these last 2 books in that series over with. Next, I will be joining a book club this year, and it is through Gavin at How to Train Your Gavin and his associates. They host the middle grade monthly book club here on BookTube, where they focus on middle grade books. And one of my goals for 2021 is to read more middle grade books. So for middle grade monthly in January, they're reading Keeper of the Lost Cities by Shannon Messenger. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to get my hands on a copy of this at my library or not, but I would like to. And if I can get a copy of it through the library, that is on my TBR, because I want to participate in that book club. And then last, I do need to draw another book from my Goodreads low budget TBR game that I created last year. So the first 3 books I pretty much have gotten through. The first one was Dark Places by Gillian Flynn. The second one was The Case for Faith by Lee Strobel, which I read in December. And then the third one is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. And I am not going to be able to get a copy of that from my library until June or July, because the holds are backed up that far. So I'm going to go ahead and pick another book off that TBR list because, you know, I can't get a hold of Alley Room. When I get a hold of that one, then that'll be the one I read that month. So let's go ahead and pick out another book. Here is the game board, kind of messily displayed on my living room coffee table that I need to clear off. It is Christmas wreck. But for my paste or page markers or whatever you want to call them, I'm going to use my Wondrous Society pen and my Zaditor antihistamine eye drops because I've had some sort of allergic reaction in my eyes this week, and those eye drops are my best friend. I have pulled up a random number generator on my phone. Let me zoom in and refocus. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to press generate. Okay, and we've got number 5 and 6. So 5 and 6 is 1038. So now let me pull up my list. Oh, okay. All right. So 1038 is The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. So it looks like I'm reading The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern, and that is going to do it for the books that I plan on reading in January 21, because there are some other books on that list that I want to read. I want to have room to mood read as well, and this is going to be a challenge. So stay tuned and we'll see if I actually get through this gigantic list. Alright, that'll do it for this video. Thank you for joining me. Tell me how you're doing. Mwah, much love to you, and until next time, read good books, drink good coffee, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye! Did you notice that I painted my nails lavender? That is the Goodreads Goals color of the year.